Hey y'all, what's up? I'm Charmaine. Welcome back to another Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16, Episode 4 review. And let's get right into it. I got my handy dandy notes like I always tell y'all. So we start off with the show with Britt and Angela meeting up at the park. Britt is pushing her little baby carriage minus the baby that she's supposed to be having in there with Mark. But anyway, yeah, Britt and Angela meets up at the park. They sit down or whatever. Britt's talking about how she want to, make more friends because she doesn't really have a lot of friends. She never really did but y'all know Britt think that everybody can't stand her because that helps build her ego. She's delusional. People can't stand you, girl, because of you. Because you start-ish. And we're going to get into that later on. But anyway, so they sit down and Angela talks about her current relationship with her sister and how they're not seeing eye to eye and that how her mother is in the middle of it. And she said that she made the mistake of letting her family know her marital business over the years and how her mother and Charles had I don't know if it was recent, but her mother and Charles had this big blowout argument over cleaning up, which makes no sense to me, but whatever. She said that they had this big argument years ago over cleaning up and how they did apologize to one another, but Charles is still pretty much salty about it, and Angela just wants them all to get along because after all, Charles takes care of all of them. Her mama, her sisters, her, all of them. Well, she got her own money, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so she just wants everybody to get along and she just wants to fix it for everybody or whatever the case. Then Britt goes on to share her relationship with her little sister Cher. And she said whenever Mike tries to help her family, that Cher feels like Mike is trying to be her father. And Britt then goes on to reveal to tell us how her father actually passed away. She said he was sitting on a couch and he developed a blood clot, and that's what ultimately took his life, unfortunately. And rest in peace to her father. But she was just saying, like I said, that Cher feels like anytime, Mike tries to help them out, them meaning her family, that she thinks Mike is trying to basically be her father. And she also said that Cher took it the hardest. I'm tripping over my words, y'all. I'm bugging. But she's like, Cher took it the hardest, and she hasn't been the same since. So Angela then goes on to say that she's throwing a little get-together and how she wants to invite all the ladies, especially Shamia, because for some reason Angela is really wanting to be Shamia's friend. Come hella high water. Like, you start shit with her at the gym. You start talking crazy to her at the gym, the first episode. And then you like Shamia said, you came in hot, girl. And now, when you saw Shamia, ain't no punk ass, weak ass, now you want to back down and you want to be her friend, and you just basically trying to do everything in your power now to like be Shamia's friend, which is cool, because I feel like, there's no real reason for them to be beefing or whatever, because it was really petty. Again, Angela started it, Shamia finished it, and that was that. So I guess I feel like they should be able to move on or whatever and keep it pushing and be cordial around each other. They ain't got to be friends, but being cordial is cute, whenever they're in the same setting. So then Britt goes into talks about Kenya, because we all know, and if you didn't know before, you know now after watching this episode just how obsessed Britt is with Kenya. Okay, obsessed. Okay, so she goes on to calling Kenya snooty, basically talking about she's gonna try one last time with Kenya. Anybody asked you to try all the other times? Like, because first of all, Kenya ain't do nothing to you. The first meetup y'all had with at Shamia party, yeah, Kenya was being funny, being kiki and laugh. She asked you about your ring or whatever, being funny. Some may say she was being shady, but again, Kenya was being funny. It was never that serious. But of course, Britt had it out for Kenya, in my opinion, before she even got on the show. Okay, when she found out she was going to be casted for the show, that was her main goal, was to come for Kenya. Nobody could convince me otherwise. But anyway, so moving on, we move on to Shamia. We go to Shamia's house. Shamia's sister rolls up to the house. Shamia's sitting down, in her gorgeous resort in the back of her house, child. She's sitting out there by the pool or whatever, listening to some tracks that she just, listening to a track, I guess, that she had just kind of laid down in the studio. So her sister rolls up her sister Tawana. She comes to visit her, and she's telling her sister that she's been in the studio making music with RL. Those of y'all from the 90s, like myself, y'all know RL is the lead singer from the group Next. Baby, when we're grinding, I get so excited. Yeah, them. RL is the lead singer from them. So she been in the studio with RL making music or whatever. She is telling her sister. And she said that the music has always been her passion since she was in like, well, a teenager, probably like 18, 19 years old. She was in a church choir, and then she told us how she was in 2 groups later on down the line. One of them being with Carrie Hilson, and then another group being co-ed. I remember hearing about a group named co-ed, but I don't remember co-ed, if that makes sense. So yeah, she was just telling, you know, her sister, well, telling us, you know, obviously her sister knew all of that. She's her sister. She was there. But she was just telling us how she used to be in, you know, a couple of singing groups or whatever, but she never had her real shot, you know, on her own. So this is why she's choosing and taking the time to pursue her own music career now or whatever. And she lets her sister hear the song. Song is cute. Song was real cute. It's nice. I liked it. And she was Shamia was just telling her sister how she plans to play the song for the ladies at Angela's get together. Shamia was kind of shocked that Angela even invited her to the get together, because Shamia even said, if I was Angela, I wouldn't even invited me. Like, girl. But you know, she's gonna go or whatever the case, as we see later on in the show. And she said, you know, so they could hash out their little beef and stuff. She was just saying like she wanted to just hash it out, you know, extend an olive branch. Then we moved to Portia's little business meeting she had with her team, child, or whatever. Portia pulls up to her business meeting from Chanel. She Chanel down from head to toe, honey. The outfit was cute. I ain't even gonna lie, because I'm not a hater. Portia's outfit was real cute. I liked it. And I'm not a label whore, but that was a nice cute Chanel outfit or whatever. Portia says that she had another, I didn't know she had another business called Pampered by Portia. I had no idea. I thought Portia's business was Go Naked Hair and Go Naked Hair only. But apparently she has another business called Pampered by Portia. She said she started it 7 years ago. In the scene, they were actually saying how it sold out in Bloomingdale's. And Portia was saying that she had hoped to be retired by the age of 40. But see, her retirement plan that she had, aka Simon, didn't go as planned. So now her ass got to be back out there working. Okay, so yeah. But with Pampered by Portia, it's like a decor. Well, she said she wants to expand it to a decor line. But right currently she has like sheets, you know, bedding, stuff like that. So, and apparently it's doing very well. So she wants to expand. That's actually what the business meeting was about. It was about her, you know, expanding within Pampered by Portia or whatever. She wants to expand to the decor. And she's sitting down with her creative director / music exec, Johnny, and a couple of her cousin Lonnie. I didn't know that her cousin Lonnie passed away last year. I wasn't aware of that. I really wasn't. But rest in peace to her. I remember her from when Portia had her own show, and even she made a couple of appearances when Portia was on the previous seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I didn't know that she passed away. But rest in peace to her. And yeah. So basically, Johnny goes on to tell Portia how Drew reached out to him, wanting him to sit down with her and Dennis to help her with her music career. And Portia still feel away, honey. She still feel away about Dennis and Drew working together, child. But she said Drew is giving single white female. Basically, Drew wants to be her. Drew wants to be. I'm like, girl, bye. Okay, because I'm pretty sure if Drew wanted to be somebody baby mama, she could have been. If she wanted to be married to a scammer, she could have been. She chose otherwise. Okay, Portia, nobody wants to be you. Nobody wants your life, baby. You ain't got the life that you think you got. Okay, nobody wants that life. Nobody wants to be going through what you're going through now with Simon. Nobody wants to be still holding on to Dennis' ass because you ain't got nobody else at the moment. Nobody wants your life, boo-boo. Okay. But let's talk about how you want to be Shamia. Okay, let's talk about you being Shamia's single white female. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's really talk about it. Anyway, moving on. or whatever. So he was basically telling her how, like I said, Drew contacted him. They had a little kiki because you know they was being shady. He gonna say, I don't know when Dennis became Quincy Jones. Where the music you produced, Johnny? Because I ain't never heard of you. And I'm not saying just because I ain't hear you that you ain't out there, but I ain't never heard of you. I ain't never seen your name or nobody come out with no songs, or even you come out to say yourself that you just did a track, or you just produced this track with this major music artist or anybody. I ain't hear nothing about you. Or you sitting at the table being Portia's creative director for her Pamper by Portia line. So don't come for Dennis, okay? At least Dennis in the studio working. And from what I hear, I haven't heard it yet because I didn't even know that Drew actually had a whole album dropped already. I didn't know that. I see her in the studio and whatever, but I didn't know that the album came all the way together. It done dropped, and people are giving it great reviews. People are saying that her album is very nice. So I am going to take a listen now that I know it's out there. But don't try to come for Dennis. I don't like people like that. Don't be shady like that, because and then they ask you for help. So why you you know, just, I know you Portia friend or whatever the case, creative director. But don't be shady like that. If they reached out to you for your little advice or for your little input, then give it to them. Don't sit there and talk about you don't know when Dennis became Quincy Jones. Why? Because he's doing more than what you doing at the moment in the music? Okay. Anyway, so then Portia goes on, like I said, to claim that Drew want to be her, and is giving single white female, and talk about just because Drew wears her wigs, because Drew was an ambassador for Go Naked Here with Portia, and she basically saying, because just because you wear your wig, wearing my wigs don't mean you can be me. And then she goes on to say how that Drew didn't fulfill her contract, and that Go Naked Corporate is going to be handling that, honey. Girl, you just so better. Anyway, speaking of Drew, we move on. Drew and Ralph is up next, honey. Ralph's outside with the kids in their yard playing ball and stuff like that. Thought that was real cute. He's actually being an active father. Not that he wasn't, but I'm just saying we haven't seen him in that mode for a while. So he's outside playing ball with the kids. Drew comes out. She joins them, and she was just telling us how she feels like they are better now as co-parents than they were when they were married. Girl, when y'all was married, y'all wasn't co-parenting. Y'all were married. But I know what she meant. But anyway, Ralph says that he just wants the divorce process to be over already, saying that it's ridiculous, it's long, and it's extremely messy. As he sits there in that confessional chair, looking fine as hell. We ain't even gonna lie. Ralph is fine. Okay, and he knows he's fine, but he's sitting in the chair with his fit on with no shirt underneath. Okay, and here got a producer talking about, could you tell me why you ain't why you came to your confessional with no shirt on? And he starts laughing or whatever. What she should have been asking him is, why are you holding up the divorce process? Okay, you see here talk about it's ridiculous, it's long, it's messy, but it's your fault. It's all of that because of you, baby. They waiting on you to stop playing games and give them the documents that they need, financial documents that they asking you for, so that they can wrap this shit up. Don't sit there and talk about it's long and messy, because you the one holding it up. A true narcissist, just like Drew said to his ass. But then the producer was like, he gonna talk about, I'm inside. I'm inside, because the producer was like, well, I just want to know if you outside. He's like, I'm inside with these kids. Yeah, you need to be, honey, because we know you was outside before the divorce. That's why y'all getting a divorce. So yeah, anyway, then they, go back to Drew and Ralph outside in the yard. They have a little talk. Ralph said that one of the kids brought him an article about him and Drew divorcing. He said the name of the child, but I couldn't catch it. But I'm assuming it's their oldest child, well, which is his stepson and Drew's actual son. I'm assuming that's who he was talking about. But because the other two, I feel like, why would they be on social media in those areas of social media, like adult social media? I don't know. They just didn't, the kids, the two younger ones just don't give that. But anyway, so Drew was shocked. She was surprised or whatever, of course, because, she said that it was in the court order that they're not to discuss their divorce to or around their kids at the moment. But I feel like they owe it to the kids to tell them. And now granted, I agree with Drew. I would rather my kids not find out through social media or through other people they hear chatting about it. But that's why it's you guys' responsibility to sit them down and tell them. Okay, let them know. You ain't got to go into full detail because they are kids. But y'all should let the kids know, that mommy and daddy are not, together anymore, or something. You know, they'll figure it out. You know, you talk to kids according to their ages. Okay, you don't have to give them too much, but at the end of the day, they should tell their kids, because now it's coming out on social media. Well, it's been out on social media, and now, you know, I'm assuming again this is the oldest son. He's got wind of it, and he brought it to Ralph's attention, and you know, so he knows. You know, I'm pretty sure by now all the kids know, but at that time, you know, I feel like they shouldn't keep stuff like that from the kids. Of course, you do it on your own time and on your own terms. It shouldn't be nobody else coming in here talking your business to your kids. And again, you can't really shield them 24 hours a day from the internet and stuff like that, especially if you're a working parent. You can't be sitting next to your child all day making sure that they're not watching or seeing certain things online as child. But anyway, Drew goes on to tell Ralph how he's a narcissist, which we can all gather. Okay, and of course he laughs about it and he denies it, but then he's like, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel, but I apologize. You know, and then he laughs about that, talking about, oh, if I was a narcissist, I wouldn't have been able to apologize, because narcissists don't apologize. But your apology was fake as fuck. So yeah, you were a narcissist, like she said. He gives us a tour, you guys. Ralph gives us the tour of his bachelor pad downstairs in their home. Okay, he did a real MTV Crib style. It's real nice down there. Ralph is living his best life, honey, downstairs. But like I said, it's his bachelor pad down there that he lives in their home. And so yeah, they kind of leave off at that. Ralph was like, you know, I'm about to go. It's curfew. You know, it's your time with the kids. And I didn't realize that. Like, and I know they mentioned it before in a couple episodes before now, but I didn't realize Drew and them like have days with the kids. Y'all live they live in the same house. How do y'all have to let a judge get involved with Drew? You got Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm just using that as an example. I don't know what her actual scheduled days is with her kids. And then Ralph has a curfew, so he claims. I don't know where he was getting ready to go. Because you was going back, where you was going? You was going to go downstairs through the other side of the house? Like, what? Like, I'm so, like, it's very unnecessary. It is very unnecessary, but this is what's working for them. So be it, child. So, like I said, they leave off like that. Ralph goes his way because it's curfew, and Drew goes her way because it's her day or weekend with the kids. That is that. So then we go to we go to Kenya's Kenya Moore Hair Spa, where she meets up with Kelly, cute little Kelly, and you know, Kenya's showing Kelly around the hair spa and stuff like that, and Kelly looks so cute. She's so cute. I just love me some Kelly. But anyway, Kenya was showing her around or whatever. Then they go to sit down and, you know, have a little chit chat. So Kenya noticed that Kelly had a whole bodyguard at the door. So Kenya was like, girl, you got a bodyguard? You walking around here with a bodyguard? And so Kelly was like, you got an M-A-R-K? I got an M-A-R-K. Girl, she didn't even want to say that man's name, honey. But she's like, you got an M-A-R-K and I got an M-A-R-K. So Kenya was basically picking up what she put down. Kenya is a very inquisitive person. She's just like myself. When we want to know something, we gonna ask questions, honey. We not gonna sugarcoat it. We not gonna sit there and beat around the bush. We not gonna hear it through the grapevine. No, we coming directly to you. If I want to ask you something, I'm gonna ask it, and that's it. So that's exactly what Kenya did when they sat down. She's like, oh, so was he abusive to you? Are you saying he was physically abusive? So then Kelly goes on to tell Kenya, yes, pretty much. In so many words, you know, she didn't say yes, like, yes, he beat me or anything like that. But she was like, he is abusive, pretty much. She said how she has a restraining order against him because when they were in court, he threatened her in court in front of them people to unalive her. So yeah, she is walking around with a bodyguard. He cannot see his daughters at this time, which he would never see his daughters if you ask me. Because first of all, any man, any weak-ass man, okay, I don't even give you the title of a man, any weak-ass male who could sit there and threaten to take away his children's mother because he's bitter that she is progressing without him. Because Kelly also said that, you know, when they had their businesses or whatever and they started going through the divorce, you know, she basically told him, you know, you could keep all your residuals and let me do me and let me keep running the businesses the way I used to, or you know, the way I was doing it, and you just keep your residuals and all this. And he wasn't happy with that. That wasn't enough. He wanted to stop her shine. He wanted to control what she had going on. He wanted her to be miserable and basically have nothing, and the shit backfired on him, okay, because he don't have nothing. And she's progressing, she's still making money, she's still building these businesses, she's still a boss, you know. So them kind of males, they can't take that, okay. You don't want to be with the woman, you don't want to do right by the woman. I don't know what the details was as per their divorce, but we can clearly see that he was unhinged, okay. He was abusive in some way, shape, or form, whether it was physically, verbally, mentally, or all of the above, okay. He's very unfortunate looking, because we done seen him on the internet now. So I don't understand. Well, then again, I do understand. Men, like I said, males like him, they're weak ass BANs, period. So she basically was saying like how he can't see his daughters or whatever at this time, and I hope he never see them until, you know, they get of age and they choose. Because like I was saying, if you can go to the lengths of saying that you're going to take my mother away from me, take me away from my daughters, you don't give a F about your daughters either. You don't care about them either, and that's obvious, okay, because you're willing to unalive their mom just to satisfy your ego and leave those girls without a mother and without a father. Because clearly, if you were to do something like that to her, you're going away for the rest of your life. Except you just don't give a F about your kids. That's crazy. So yeah, then Kenya basically asks Kelly, you know, it's for a little bit of advice, you know, how to get the people in the door at her business, you know, because Kelly is doing it, like I said, and Kelly just told her, girl, it's just strictly word of mouth, you know, obviously staying dedicated, keeping, you know, keep grinding, but for the most part, it's word of mouth. And Kenya kind of got a little bit emotional. She started crying because she was just saying like she really wants this to work. She put $400,000 into her hair care, well, yeah, I'm gonna say hair care salon, hair spa. She put $400,000, which was her daughter's college fund, into this spa. And, you know, she wants it to boom. She wants it to grow. You know, and Kelly just was telling her, girl, you got this. You going to get that money back. We going to send little Brooklyn to college. Okay, Brooklyn going to be going to college, which $400,000, child, that's what college she going to. But then again, these colleges these days is obviously, if you want your child in one of the most prestigious black colleges or any college like that, any prestigious college, you're going to be paying around 400, 500K. Me personally, even if I had that type of money to just drop on a college fund for mine, I would not do it. Only because, another video, I just don't think it's worth it. But that's just my opinion. And that's a topic for another video or whatever. So, let me catch myself up here. So basically, she told Kenya, you know, you got this, girl. You got this. You going to do good. The spy is going to do good. Don't even worry about it. Just stay grinding, stay in it, and you'll be fine. So then Kelly was, you know, telling us how she liked Kenya. She liked Kenya. She's like, Kenya, man, cool, or whatever. And she's like, I don't see what Britt sees. Like, I'm not experiencing anything that Britt has been telling me about Kenya, you know, as far as her experiences with Kenya. She's like, I'm not seeing that. I know you're not seeing it, Kelly, because that's Britt's delusion, okay? Britt is beefing with herself, okay? And she's just making it seem like it's Kenya on the other end of it. But no, it's just all her. And I'm glad that Kelly now sees that for herself. So yeah, moving on or whatever. Okay, so then we go to Britt and meeting up at dinner with her sister Cher or whatever. They sit down, you know, to talk things out or whatever, because again, they haven't been speaking, they haven't been seeing each other like that. Cher tells Britt that, you know, you need to come see your nephews. That's why I'm really mad, because she's like, you know, saying that her son's is like 6'3". Britt's like, no, that can't be. I just seen them a month ago. You know, they can't be growing that fast. You know, it ain't like I ain't seen them in forever. But anyway, her sister just basically was saying, you know, how she feels that when she needs her sister, Britt, it always has to be Britt and Mike. Or Mark, whatever his name is, child. It always has to be her and her husband there. If she got something personal to talk about with Britt, Mike is there. If she wants, you know, like she just feel like ever since Britt got married, she kind of forgot all about her, you know. And a lot of women do that. A lot of women do that, and I don't like that either. Like, okay, you got a man or you got a husband now, but don't forget about your friends. Don't forget about the people that is closest to you. Don't just make this man your world, okay? you should be able to balance your relationship with your man and your relationship with your best friends or sisters or whoever. You shouldn't have to have it to where they feel like you're neglecting them now, and now you don't want nothing to do with them, which is basically what Cher was telling Britt. Like, you basically made me feel like you're not here for me anymore like you used to be. Now, on Cher's part too, I'm getting on her too a little bit, because girl, grow up. Okay, because it seems like Cher is the sister who always has an issue. Like, she's always going through something. Like, she's kind of needy, you know. And yes, she was the one who took it the hardest when her dad passed, but I'm assuming these ladies are in their 40s, late 30s to early 40s, so they are fully grown. And you know, I feel like Cher just was one of those women who, or people who always needs somebody for something, and she feels sorry for herself. Like, she doesn't do all that she needs to do as an adult, and when she falls short, seemingly it's like she's the type of person that she's always falling short, that she expects, you know, her sister, in this case Britt, to come and swoop her up and to, you know, fix it for her, basically continue to enable her to be who and how she's being. So Cher has to grow up a little bit. But Britt sees it the other way. She's like, well, you know, Cher doesn't have what I have, pretty much. She doesn't have somebody in her life. She doesn't have the happiness that I have in my life. So she kind of, in so many words, saying that her sister is jealous about that. That's what I got out of it, because Britt thinks everybody is jealous of her. Again, she's delusional. So, long story short of this, because I ain't gonna spend too much time on them too, but they kind of, you know, Britt told her, girl, you know, anything you need, call me or whatever, because at first Britt was like, well, he's my husband, you know, he's always gonna be there. Girl, he don't always have to be there. You can make it so if you have to meet up with your sister to talk, your sister has something personal to talk about with you, or if she just want to spend a day with you, you can detach from your man. Mike, Mark, whatever his name is, don't have to be there every single time. So stop it. So yeah, anyway, they, you know, seemingly hashed it up. She told her, I love you. They told each other they loved each other. And, you know, we move on to the next scene. We move on to Drew pulling up to the studio. Drew been in that studio, honey, this season so far. And we see Dennis is in there. They're listening to Drew's new track. Drew is still making Dennis seem like he's the best person ever, best music producer ever, I should say. But he is. I mean, I'm not saying he's the best producer ever. I'm just saying, like, he's doing his thing with Drew, obviously, you know, because again, people are saying that her album is really nice. So he's doing a little something. Him and the rest of the producers that put that album together. So Dennis said when he and Drew first started, that Portia was in Nigeria eating fufu, honey. Basically, she wasn't worrying about what was going on between him and Drew. She ain't had no problems then. Now all of a sudden, her meal ticket, aka her retirement plan, aka Simon, is no longer. Now she want to come back and start bothering with Dennis and trying to make things difficult for him and starting to interfere with him and Drew got going on, which I know is strictly business. That's it. That's all. But anyway, so they basically, Drew go in and, you know, she put down the finishing touches on her song. I think it's called The Chicago Slide or something like that. I gotta check the album out. But I think that song she was doing in the studio was Chicago Slide. So she basically just went in, you know, and laid the finishing touches on that. So then we see the ladies getting ready for Angela's get together. Britt and Kelly, you know, laughing out loud about not feeling safe where the event is going to be held, which is in Bankhead. Apparently Bankhead is in a rough part of Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever. I don't know if Bankhead is a separate city or not, but we're gonna say it's in with one of the neighborhoods in Atlanta. So they was laughing about that, not feeling safe or whatever. And then they show Shamia and Portia. Shamia's getting her hair and makeup done. They're on FaceTime together, and Shamia asked Portia if she's spoken to Drew yet, and Portia was like no, and she said that they need to have a one-on-one without anyone else around to chime in. Okay, cool, or whatever. But yeah, so the ladies start to arrive. We see Angela at the bank. That's the name of the I don't know what to call it, bar, restaurant, or whatever, but that's the name of the place where she's having her event, her dinner. And it was really nice in there, really nice. I loved how when they were arriving, they had it so they were walking through like this vault, which also mimicked that of like a little runway. That was really nice. I like that. And all the lady, it was an all-black affair. Kenya didn't get the memo like she said. Because she came strutting in there with her teal color Versace dress, walking down a runway like the true beauty queen that she is. Okay, first thing, here go freaking whatchamacallit, Brit. I thought, y'all, I cannot stand Brit. Let's just be clear, okay? I can't, yo, from here on in, my foot is going to be on her neck, because what she did on this episode, absolutely unacceptable, and I want her going too. But anyway, here she go, because she was fiending for Kenya to come, honey. Fiending for Kenya to walk through. Like, you could tell, because at the time, before Kenya came, it was just Britt, Angela, and Portia, I believe, that came in that were at the table at that time. And I think Drew and Kelly. I think pretty much all the ladies. I don't know. I don't remember too much. But I think they was pretty much there. But Kenya was kind of one of the last ones walking in. No, Shamia was actually the last one. But all the ladies looked really nice. Some of them, even though they were in they were all black. Everybody was in there all black except for Kenya. But some of them still missed the mark, like Kelly. Like, Kelly, girl, I don't know what. I don't know. Like, okay, you had on black. But, girl, the outfit, I don't think was for that event. It was for a different type of event. But overall, she still looked cute too. But like I said, when Kenya came walking in, here go Britt head on swivel. I thought we were wearing all black. That's not all black. Mind your business. Mind your business. Why are you clocking my tea as soon as I walk through the vote? Like, girl, damn. Anyway, so like I said, Kenya come strutting in with her little teal Versace dress, honey. And then Portia made a little joke. She was like, you got the memo, girl. It's that plain as day on that card. And then they show on the invitation, it do say all black affair. Kenya was like, I don't own nothing black. Listen, here I am. I don't own nothing black. But we knew Kenya was going to come in doing Kenya's own thing, period. That's Queen Kenya, okay? Anyway, so Kenya comes in like she always does. She's greeting all the ladies. She's making her rounds around the table. She stops at Britt because her seat is actually right next to Britt. So she stops at Britt, bends down, give Britt the little, you know, little hug or whatever. Kenya's just in a good spirit. Here go Britt. Here she go. Oh, that wasn't a hug. That was a pet. I can't stand her, y'all. Like, I can't stand her. I can't stand her facial expressions, her dumbass facial expressions. I can't stand her teeth. I don't like nothing. I can't stand the way she sounds like she need to blow her nose every time she speaks, because she sounds like she's talking straight through her nasal cavities. I cannot stand that lady. And I don't be talking like that about people because, I just don't. Like, but that girl, because she's personally, well, woman, because she's personally attacking one other person, like, and it's not necessary, you looking real stupid. So anyway, she go, oh, that wasn't a hug, that was a pat. Here we go again, because this is the same issue she tried to pull when she first met Kenya at Shamia house. You were complaining about how Kenya didn't hug you. Like, what is up? What's the issue, sis? You, like, why are you fiending for Kenya to be your friend? Like, or because that's what it's given. Okay, anyway, so Kenya tells her, girl, I did hug you. I just didn't want to get makeup on me. Like, and that's clear as day. Like, she hugged you. First of all, those of us who has been watching this show for years, and those of us who definitely have been watching since Kenya's been on the show, we all know if Kenya don't like somebody, Kenya is not paying you any mind. She's going to walk in that event. She's going to kiss or hug anyone she wants to, and she gonna go right past your ass, not even acknowledge you, not even look at you. If Kenya did not like Britt would know it. She would not have stopped and taken the time to give you no type of hugs, any type of greeting. She would have sat her ass right next to you and would not have seen you at all for the entire time. So let's not get it twisted. Stop making it seem like Kenya is trying to have an issue with you, and you, because you was already on 10 when Kenya walked in there, and she didn't even say nothing to you yet. She hadn't even gotten to that side of the table yet, and you was already on 10 for Kenya. So let's be clear. If Kenya didn't like Britt would know it. Okay, so the fact that Kenya is even acknowledged Britt when she came in again, that says a lot. Okay. And here, like I said, here she goes. So Kenya, again, ignore her. So anyway, I almost forgot. Like I had said, Shamia was the last person who came in. Shamia came in and she looked fucking fire. Shamia is that girl, y'all. Oh my God. From hair to freaking toe, Shamia ate. Okay. But she comes in walking with a bottle, which she did order when she was back there in her house. I forgot about that. She did order from Instacart a damn bottle of olive oil because she said she was going to extend the olive branch. So she walks in with a bottle of olive oil, child, with a branch sticking out of it. And she does go to Angela. And, you know, she basically apologizes to Angela for making fun of her physical appearance. She's like, that's not like me. That's not nice. And XYZ, even though she was still being, Shamia was still being shady in her confessional or whatever. But the grown woman part of her, you know, she did apologize. And she really meant it. You can tell it was very sincere. Angela certainly appreciated the gesture. The olive branch in a bottle of olive oil. She appreciated it or whatever. And yeah, they hugged it out and they gonna move on. Yes, that's what grown mature women do who ain't really beefing like that because they know it ain't really no beef. That's what we like. We love that. So yeah, anyway, which Kelly is my girl. Like I said, I like Kelly a lot. I feel like she's gonna be my fave on this show. But I didn't like what she did to Drew. I didn't like her putting Drew on the spot like that. Even though, you know, Kenya did ask the question, but I didn't like how she called Drew out because she was like how Drew invited an extra +1 because remember, if y'all remember at Kelly's event with Balmain at the Balmain store, Drew brought her sister, but we didn't know that she brought somebody else too until Kelly called her out on it. She brought her makeup artist too, some guy who's her makeup artist or whatever, and Kelly was just like, you brought him and he didn't even buy anything at all. You know, he just came, you know, for the free stuff. So Kenya goes to ask, well, did everybody purchase something? And Kelly was like, no. So then Kenya wanted to know, well, who didn't purchase something? So Kelly looks at Drew. And Drew was like, who, me? Like, yes, I did. I purchased XYZ. She said she purchased a blazer for her son. And she pulled out her phone, because one thing about Drew, she gonna keep some receipts, honey. But she pulled out her phone to show the text message between the salesperson and herself, which apparently was a part of a group text. I don't know why that would be a part of the group text, but that's what Drew said. So she gave Kelly her phone and was like, I bought my son a $2,000 blazer, for a Balmain blazer. Here's my receipt. Here's me, you know, talking about the sale between me and the salesperson. So Kelly looks at the phone and she was like, I see text messages from Dennis. Again, that was uncalled for and that was unnecessary. That's not what you were supposed to be looking at, okay? But then Kelly goes on to say in her confessional, like, yeah, just because I see you had words pretty much with my salesperson, I didn't see no transaction, honey. I didn't see no receipts, like physical receipts for the transaction that you paid for something. But I didn't see you walk out with a bag either. All I saw was you basically eating and drinking and walking out empty-handed or whatever. And saying how she guessed Drew is not used to being in spaces like that. And I didn't think that was nice of her, you know, because I don't know why Kelly has it out for Drew. I'm still not sure what it is yet. Well, we didn't know she has it out for Drew, but it seems like from this episode that she's starting to pick with Drew. I don't understand that, unless she really felt like Drew didn't tell her she was bringing that extra person, and then you bring an extra person and none of y'all bought nothing. You know, I could see her feeling something. I could see Kelly feeling a way about that, but that's not something I feel like I would have called her out around the table for. And then on Drew's end, it's like, girl, why would you spend $2,000 on a blazer for your son? Okay, you in the middle of a divorce right now. I know your funds is very tied up. You know, so, you know, if you couldn't afford to buy that, not saying that she can't afford it, I'm just saying in that particular moment, if you couldn't afford something in that store for less than $2,000, then yes, I would have walked out empty-handed too. And Kelly would have just had to understand, baby, my presence is supporting you here. Me being here is your support. You know, if I can't spare the $2,000 just to blow it on a blazer or whatever, then maybe I would have shopped around and see what else in there that she could have afforded. But if I was Drew, because I just feel like Drew don't really got it. Well, at the time, she was going through a divorce. You paying all these attorney fees. You know, you still got to pay your bills and stuff for your home and stuff like that. I ain't counting Drew pockets, but Drew just don't give that she's that girl. Like, she don't just be dropping $2,000 on designer shit. Like, she just doesn't come off as that type of person. She comes off as a frugal person, which is fine because I'm frugal. Okay, I'm not spending that on no labels. Absolutely not. But yeah, so I didn't like that Kelly did that in front of everybody and stuff. But Drew, as always, she held her own and stuff. This is when we get to Shamia telling the girls that she's been working on a song, working on some music, and then she pulls out her phone and she plays this song for the girls like she said she was gonna do. Soon as the music starts, here go Portia, hating ass, sitting across the table looking confused. That's not you. Telling Shamia that's not her. She gonna tell Shamia that's not you singing. That's Drew. Now, don't you think if that was Drew would have said that? Drew is sitting right there. Why the fuck would she sit there and let Shamia play a song that's saying that it's her singing and it's Drew singing? Like, why would she do that? So Shamia was like, this is me. So Portia was like, so you trying to say I don't know your singer voice? That's not you. That's not you. So you could see Shamia getting frustrated on her face or whatever. She wasn't getting mad, but you could just see like the disappointment on her face because Portia was dead ass hating. And she was like, she kept telling Shamia that's not her. I know Shamia's voice. That's not her. That's Drew. And whatever. So Shamia wound up telling Portia to shh. Because Portia was like, are my ears misleading me? Yes, girl, they are. Because that's Shamia singing. Okay? And Shamia was like, no, your ears are not listening. So just shh. Okay? She definitely shushed Portia as she should have. Portia still sitting on the other side of the table looking confused and mad and salty and just like she wasn't happy at all that Shamia is sitting here, you know, listen, having everybody hear her new song. As a best friend, this is how you act? Like, this is how you show your support? No, Portia's a hater. Even Drew was like, that's not me. Like, that's not me. Like, you know, anyway, all the ladies liked the song except Portia. Everybody was clapping and bopping and swaying while Shamia was playing. Everybody was, you know, they was feeling it or whatever. Everybody except Portia, like I keep saying. So yeah, we move on. And this is when they start to play the game. Okay. Angela has it, like I was saying before, where she has them write down a question for each of them. And, you know, the person who wrote it is anonymous or whatever. But you could name the names, meaning you could put the name of the person that you want to make the question for on there. So who asked the first question? Let me see. Oh, okay. So the question was for Shamia first. They wanted to know, what did you do, or whoever wanted to know, what did you do to thank your husband for buying you that Rolls Royce, honey? And of course, Shamia basically demonstrated what she did, how she thanked her man, and it's basically what she do every time they're intimate. Okay, basically she ain't do nothing. Nothing special. In other words, she didn't do nothing special. She did what she been doing. Okay, yeah. So then the next question was, they wanted to know what color panties Kenya was wearing. Like, that was weird. So Kenya stood up and showed them. So they had a good laugh at Kenya's vagina, child. Portia especially. She was just wowed by Kenya's moose knuckle, saying that it was the biggest one she ever seen. And so then Britt asks her question. Like, she's unraveling her paper because, you know, she couldn't wait, honey. And she wants to know if, do you think you can talk to Britt nicely and without an attitude? And then she goes, I swear I didn't write this question. Yes, you did. Because don't nobody else see Kenya having a problem with you at all. None of the other girls see what you see. You wrote the question because you're a weird ass. Anyway, so Kenya responds in true, mature, classy fashion. Yes, I can, and I can talk to, and I think I have. I can talk to everybody here with respect. I can talk to everybody here nicely, and I think I have. Oh, but I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking, it's specifically me. I ain't talking about me. I was like, girl, like, he was like, you trying to have your moment, because Britt started getting a little loud. King was like, okay, you want a moment? Go ahead, have your moment. No, you want a moment. This Britt talking to King. No, you want a moment. You need to step out. Kenya is ignoring her. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to do this back and forth with you. I'm not going to play these childish games with you. Britt says something else, and then that's when Kenya finished her by saying, a peasant can't comfort its queen, honey. That is what sent Britt off, okay? Because after Kenya said what she said, she then stood up and started to gather her things and to exit stage left. Her time here was done, okay? Because now, like she said, Britt wanted to have a moment, and she's not going to do it at the expense of me. So Kenya got up, started gathering her things, and completely ignored the fuck out of Britt. Completely ignored her as she should have. All the other ladies also got up. Everybody starts to leave as well. Britt is still going off. They're leaving now. They're at the front, you know, the exit of the restaurant, or whatever, and there here's Britt going off talking about how she got pistols and whips and and she's calling Mike on the phone, come in here, baby, where's my husband, that loves me? Girl, bye you. Girl, yeah, anyway, so she's on the phone. Kelly's over there trying to calm her down because she's very turned, honey. So I know, here Mike comes, he comes in, okay, and I know Mike was expecting to come in too, because when she was on the phone with Mike, she made it seem like her and Kenya almost came to blows, or that they were actually in there fighting. That's how she made it seem. So of course when Mike came in, I know he was expecting to see his wife all disheveled. He probably was expecting to see this big old commotion. No, when he walked in, he saw Kelly off to the side and his wife popping shit still, and he saw Kenya and all the other ladies standing there conversing and not paying her no mind. So everybody was ignoring her. Even the other ladies was like, she doing too much. They at Portia, all of them was like, she doing too much. It was uncalled for and unnecessary, and it was very calculated. You already did. It was very evident that this is what she wanted to do at this dinner when it came to Kenya. So then they head outside. Like I said, Britt is over there still popping her shit, telling her husband, this is real life. This is real life. I got pistols. I got my pistols and my whips. I still, He said, she telling him to take her mic off and shit. And so he even told her, he was like, you doing too fucking much. Those were his exact words. Because by this time, again, Kenya, Portia, and Shamia is over by Portia's car. They're sitting over there talking, completely ignoring anything that child is over there saying. Nobody is paying her no attention. Nobody is giving her no attention. I don't know why security and everybody came running out the restaurant. I just didn't understand where all these people was coming from at this point, or why. But the girls is over here talking. Kenya was like, Portia was like, you riding with me? So Kenya was like, oh yeah, I'm hopping. So I'm getting the back seat, because Shamia was in Portia's front seat or whatever. And yeah, so it left off with Britt over there popping her shit. Portia drove off with Shamia and Kenya in the car, and that was it. You know, they had a little key about what was going on. Kenya basically was telling Portia and Shamia in the car how Britt was saying that she has a gun, and but they said Portia was saying that she didn't say she didn't hear that, but she was like, what? She said a gun. So Kenya was like, yeah. And she's like, I want her to do something to me so she can go, because she needs to go. She needs to go, and I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Now, this is very evident that Bravo had it out for Kenya, because at the end of the day, how do you demote and or fire Kenya, but you let Britt, a new cast member, come on here threatening her, or threatening? Now, did I think Britt had a gun on her at that time? No. But the point is, you insinuated, because it was never that serious. Like, what? Why would you need to even say, oh, I got whips and pistols? For what? What did Kenya do that you would want to harm her in that way? Like, girl, is it really that deep for you? It really is. She is really jealous of Kenya, and she been jealous of Kenya before she even got on the show. So she made it her mission to show that once she did get on the show. But I'm just saying, like, Bravo she has to go. She has to go. If Kenya going, she has to go. Because one thing about us Kenya, Team Twirl fans and Queen Kenya fans, we not going to let this shit rock, honey. We're going to keep our foot on Britt's neck until they remove her from the show. So after this season's reunion is over, I better not see Britt on the next season. She better be going too. She better be going too. And if she not going, then y'all better bring Kenya back. We want Kenya back, and we want her going. Period. Because that wasn't right. I know Kenya spoke up about Bravo in the foul-ish that they was doing or whatever, but who don't talk about their job? And she didn't talk about it in the way that Nene did, child. She ain't do that. She ain't do too much, okay? But at the end of the day, ever since then, Andy has been gunning to get Kenya off that show. Because as we will see on next week's episode, this is pretty much where Kenya's appearance on the season stops. You know, because that's at her, and I hate that Kenya did it at her own hair event, her own event. I hate that she did it, but one thing about it, you come for Queen Kenya, she's going to drag it to hell, okay? Because she was minding her business when it came to you, Britt. She wasn't asking the girls about you. She wasn't talking about you behind your back. She was minding her business. You kept coming for her. This is the version of Kenya that you wanted, and now you got it. And like I said, we will be seeing on next week's episode what Kenya did, okay, that got her in trouble with the show. But at the end of the day, she was defending herself, period. And this one here needs to go, because if you could feel like you can just blurt shit out there, how about you having weapons and stuff to harm somebody else, you don't need to be on the show. You are very unhinged, and we don't want that. If you want to keep Britt on that show, y'all need to bring Kenya back next season. That's if Kenya even wants to come back. But y'all need to bring her back. If not, Britt needs to go. Matter of fact, I don't even care if Kenya come back. If Kenya do come back next season, they need to get Britt off the show. We don't want her. We don't want her. We don't want her. We don't want her delusional ass. We don't want her ghetto-ness. We don't want any of that, because she brought the hood out of her at that dinner, and it was very uncalled for. So yeah, we're gonna see next episode. And then I didn't even realize, I don't know why I didn't realize this, but Kenya hasn't been getting no confessionals this whole show so far. I don't think Kenya been in not one confessional, and I don't like that. Like, he really tried to play Kenya. He, meaning Andy and them. He really tried to play Kenya. And then if you think about it, you know, they're considering what Kenya did revenge porn, even though this is the photo that she showed of Britt doing what she do. It was already on the internet. So how was it revenge porn? It was already on the internet. But I still do wish Kenya didn't do it, just because she, you know, it could F with her businesses. Like, yeah, it could F with her business. And I don't like that for Kenya. Like, and I'm hoping that it didn't affect her business, because now that, you know, those of us watchers, you know, saw what went on, saw why and how it all went down, you know, I hope that it didn't affect her business and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the show, you guys. That was it. That was all. And like I said, I'm gonna keep my foot on Britt's neck until they don't show her no more. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. But yeah, so going forward, we'll see how this show plays out, because with Kenya going and this Britt girl still on here, for me, I'm talking about specifically for me, I don't know how I feel about watching like that. I know I said that Kelly's gonna keep me. I'm definitely gonna, you know, keep giving it a try, but I don't know. I don't know I don't know how it's gonna how the show is gonna play out after this, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, y'all, that's it for my review, honey. I know I was on here ranting and raving because this really pissed me off, but at the end of the day, we're going to see what goes on the next episode. I will be back with my review for that as well. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and even share this video. Don't forget also, as I always tell you, to check out my vlogs on this very channel. Right now, I'm doing, you know, a mix of things on my channel, but eventually I will be separating the She Always Got Something to Say and away from this actual channel, and making She Always Got Something to Say her own channel, where I can sit down and strictly do more reviews, or, you know, different topics, things like that. I could just basically do sit down videos on that channel, and instead of doing it on my vlogging channel. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to do it here. And I thank you so much for your support, and I thank you so much for watching. Peace out, you guys. See you in my next video.